Welcome everyone, and thanks for attending our third Insider Series episode, designed to help current and previous prep students prepare for the transition from prep to PEP in a short 10-minute coffee break. Please note that today's seminar will be recorded. Therefore, I'll ask that you keep your microphones muted, but you do have a chat box. It's a little speech balloon that you see on your screen where you can type questions as they arise, and I'll have easy reference back to them when we enter the Q&A session at the end. My name is Amy Burridge, and I'm one of the 3 student recruitment advisors with the CPA Atlantic School of Business, alternating as hosts throughout this series. And for those of you who attended series number 1, you may at least be familiar with my voice if we haven't already met. So let's jump into the main points to keep in mind when transitioning from prep to PEP. Did you know that if you are an active preparatory student, regardless of if you are currently enrolled in a course, but if your prep student dues are still active, you do not need to reapply to enter CPA PEP. You simply register for Core 1 through the student self-serve portal as you're familiar with for your prep course registration. There are a couple of things to note, however, before you move into Core 1. The first is that you must have a 65% average over all of the core prep courses to proceed to PEP. This will be assessed once you register before your registration is approved. If you've passed all of your prep courses, meaning you've received at least a 60, but you did not reach that required average, you will need to upgrade some courses before moving into Core 1. And we also recognize that some students may need to take a breather after you've finished 14 prep courses or as many as you've completed before moving into PEP. However, there are a couple of implications from taking a break from prep to PEP as well. For example, if your dues expire and you've taken an extended break, you may need to reapply and go back through that application process. And if you've carried courses with you that may be at risk of reaching that 10-year expiry mark for the core prep courses and you're no longer active, you may be at risk of not receiving exemption when you reapply. If you have concerns about this and you are planning on taking a break, please reach out to your student recruitment advisor. I'll have all of our contact information at the end of today's session, and they can help advise you on what options you may have. So we'll now compare the main differences from the preparatory courses to the PEP modules. We'll first discuss the online platform. Both use the D2L platform to provide study material, upload assignments, connect with classmates, and you could even have familiar instructors from prep to PEP, as our faculty are often involved in delivery of both programs. In terms of the module pace, it's something you're already familiar with as well. Typically, the PEP modules follow an 8-week semester, meaning you will spend approximately 20 study hours per week on each module, depending, of course, on your work ethic, how quickly you absorb the information, and the type of student that you are. So you're already prepared for the accelerated pace based on the core prep courses. I will note, though, for those of you who are taking our new offering of the extended Core 1 option, which is new this July, your first module will be stretched over 20 weeks. So it will actually be at a little bit of a decelerated pace based on the 8-week structure. Both PREP and PEP have a final exam at the end of each course or module, which are typically in person. However, of course, during COVID, we've changed to a virtual delivery of the final exam. And you will continue to be kept up to date on what that entails as you move through the PEP modules. PEP also has the introduction of mandatory workshops. So these occur once per module, plus an orientation workshop at the beginning of Core 1, for a total of 7 workshops throughout PEP. So again, these are typically in person with candidates from each province congregating together. However, they're also offered virtually during COVID. So what does this look like? We are still determining for each region whether they will be live or pre-recorded. So a live workshop would mean that you would log in real time. It's a Saturday, Sunday setup, typically 8:30 to 4:30 or something similar, where you will interact as you would have face-to-face, but through your computer in a live platform. A pre-recorded version of the workshop would mean that you would still have a deadline to complete the workshop and activities at a certain time. However, you would have more flexibility with when you log on to do that. So again, look out for important communications through D2L or through your email on what version of the workshops will be offered to you. Core 1, or the start of PEP, is also when you'll gain access to PERT, which is what we call the Practical Experience Reporting Tool. You'll be able to attend a PERT orientation where you'll learn how to track your experience. And if you do have relevant experience from your PrEP studies or previous, you'll also then be able to track up to 12 months of prior experience. You're also paired with a CPA mentor going through PEP, which is not included as part of the PrEP courses, and your mentor will help guide you through your studies, particularly the practical experience components. Although PrEP has 5 semesters per year, PEP has just 4, which we refer to by season, so fall, winter, spring, and summer. Unlike PrEP as well, not every PEP module is offered in each semester, but you still have options through your PEP path, which we'll cover more in the next slide. Similar to PrEP though, the PEP course calendar is posted typically a year in advance, so you have ample time to plan out your studies. And finally, both have annual student dues. However, as you can see, the amounts differ. So as a PrEP student, your annual student dues are $635 per year, while PEP candidate dues start over once you begin Core 1 and change to $675 per year. A great way to learn all about our PEP fees, payment schedules, and your financing options is to attend our next Insider Series number 4 in just 2 weeks. So now we'll take a look at the PEP Pathways. There are 6 PEP modules in total, and they're outlined here in our PEP wheel. So candidates typically start with Core 1 on its own, although we do have some options to take Core 1 and Core 2 simultaneously, particularly this new extended offering starting on July 25th. You can take Core 1 extended and Core 2 extended at the same time. Once you finish Core 1 and Core 2, which is your in-depth financial reporting and management accounting, you move into the elective modules. And of the 4 topics listed, you only need to complete 2, again, typically 1 at a time. Once you complete the electives, you move into the capstone modules. So you would take capstone 1 on its own, which is an integrative business case where you're put into group and you really analyze a business the same as a CPA would. Followed by capstone 2, which is no new learning, just a recap of everything you've done so far, and questions that you would typically see in the same format on the CFE, which is the common final exam at the end of your studies. Similar to PrEP, you can choose to take breaks throughout your studies. So because every PEP module is not offered in every semester, as I mentioned, you may not be able to go straight through your studies depending on your start date, but again, your student recruitment advisor can help you create your own path. The PEP path as well is designed for you to take capstone 1, capstone 2, both leading directly into the CFE. So any breaks that you take would occur between the first 4 modules, Core 1, Core 2, and the 2 electives. So for those of you looking to start PEP right away after you complete your PrEP courses, if you've just completed your PrEP in semester 3, or the exams that the marks were released for last week, you can jump right into our July extended Core 1 offering. In this option, you can take a 23-month or a 27-month path through CPA PEP, and you have a choice of 1, 2, or 3 breaks throughout the path as the shortest options. For those of you still completing a PrEP course this summer or who may want to take a break before you begin Core 1, The next offering will begin in October, and that follows our regular 8-week Core 1 module. And for that path, you can follow a 20-month or 24-month path through PEP with a choice of 1 or 2 breaks for the fastest options through. These are only examples of typical paths, and again, your student recruitment advisor is your best point of contact to help you build your unique pathway through PEP. It's also always a good idea to discuss your plans and workload with your employer, as sometimes they have preferences for when students take certain modules to avoid peak work hours. And that's if you have an employer that you're working with currently. And keeping in mind, you do have a maximum of 6 years to complete your PEP studies. So what can you do now? Your first step is to decide which Core 1 option might suit you best, then check your registration deadlines. So some of you may notice that the registration for the extended Core 1 option starting July 25th has technically passed. However, if you have all of your prep completed and you're ready to go, you could still register for that Core 1 start now. And the other option, as I mentioned, would be October for the regular Core 1 offering. However, we do typically have 3 Core 1 start dates a year. So again, reach out to your student recruitment advisor for your unique path. As I alluded to when discussing the difference in PrEP and PEP fees, our Insider Series number 4 is taking place on July 28th, and this will go through PEP fees and payment options in much more detail. And I'd also encourage all of you to attend our Lunch with the CPA series on August 19th. This is a really unique offering that only occurs a couple of times per year, and it's a chance for you to really have a Q&A with a recent CPA graduate to get the inside scoop on everything they've learned through their PEP studies, pointers that they might have on the practical experience, how their mentor helped them throughout the program, and ultimately how the CPA designation was beneficial to their career. You can find all of the upcoming sessions on our website as well, or again, reach out to your student recruitment advisor if you're looking for specific information. So as most of you on the line have probably already completed PrEP or at least started your PrEP studies, you should be familiar with your student recruitment advisor already. However, our contact information is listed here. So for those of you in Nova Scotia or international inquiries not yet in Canada, you can reach out to Kathleen Brown. If you're in New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, or if you'd like to communicate specifically in French, you can reach out to John Thomas. And if you're in Newfoundland and Labrador or Bermuda, you can reach out to myself, Amy Burridge. So that's it for our coffee break seminar. Thank you for attending. I'm now happy to address any questions you might have on transitioning from PrEP to PEP. Again, feel free to type your questions in the chat box, and that way I'll get to them one at a time. If you don't have questions today, that's okay as well. Hopefully I've done a great job of covering what some of the questions might have been, but also if you're looking for that one-on-one discussion with your student recruitment advisor, that's a great point of contact as well. However, I will stay on the line for a few more minutes if any questions come up. Great, so I have a question. What is the minimum score to pass the PrEP courses? So each PrEP course requires a 60% to pass. However, you do need a 65 average over the core PrEP courses. And that's whether you take them with us or externally. So just keep that in mind that if you were only getting a 60 in each course, it wouldn't meet that 65 average. So you need to keep that in your calculations while you're going through. Thank you for that reminder. So we will actually be sending out today's recording of the series to anyone who attended, and some helpful links that will prepare you to start Core 1 as well. So keep a lookout in your email for a follow-up after today's session. So Stacia, PEP is similar. You would need at least a 60 to be considered a pass. And you will be notified, for example, for people going through PrEP, if you are taking your last PrEP course and you're at risk of not meeting that 65% average, you will be notified to, understand that you may need to get a higher mark in your last PrEP course to meet that 65 average. So Lydia's asking about taking the electives and the capstones and in which order. So no, Lydia, you typically wouldn't take them in a different order. The capstone courses are designed to really prepare you for that CFE. So the same case that you see in capstone 1, you'd actually be tested for on the CFE in a different way. So you would take capstone 1, capstone 2, leading right into the CFE. If you're wondering about that question based on the offerings and how to plan out your PEP studies, again, reach out to your student recruitment advisor because they can help you work out a path that works best for you, but taking the courses in order. So great questions, everyone. Thanks for your participation and attending today's session. Again, keep a lookout for your email for a link to today's recording, as well as some other helpful information. And we're always here to address questions as they come up, so feel free to reach out to your student recruitment advisor. Have a great day.